Hey, Dr. Park here. Quick heads up. Most of what you're about to see is an older video, but it's super helpful, especially if you're curious about what it takes to build your own dental office from the ground up. Thought it deserved another share. Let's check it out. In this video, I'll go over what a general contractor is, how to hire them, and what to look out for. Also, I'll explain how general contractors operate and how to get funding to fund your construction project. So, what is a general contractor? A general contractor is a person that runs a construction company that will build your dental practice. So, it's pretty much a fancy way of saying it's a construction company. So, where do you start? Well, you're going to have to find a general contractor. As we talked about in my previous video on how we find dental architects, we're going to do the same thing, which is to ask your dental supplier. It's pretty simple. The hardest part is finding the right dental contractor. Keep in mind that it's the most costly portion of the whole journey to create your dental practice. So let's start off with at least 3 bids. Also, you got to keep in mind that some of these general contractors will say that they do dental practices, but when you ask them how many have they done, they'll say this is their first time. And that's a big no-no. You do not want to be an experiment to be tried on. Instead, go for experienced contractors that will make your dental practice superb. But why? What possibly could go wrong? After all, isn't a general contractor just following the architect's map? Well, the answer is yes, most of the time. But let's look at an example. One of the major problems that a lot of the dental offices have is the placement of pipes, particularly the vacuum pipes. The reason is that sometimes it's not clear on the architect drawings. So some dental contractors will set the pipes up the wall. But what's the problem with this? The problem is that the liquid, in this case saliva and blood, will backflow once the vacuum is turned off. That means the liquids will come out of the suction. Gross. So this is a big no-no. And if the pipes are already in, it can be fixed, but it's a little bit technical. But in a nutshell, you can create a trap in the pipes to catch the liquid or buy another vacuum to connect it with your current one. So that begs the question, what's the other best way to go about it that doesn't fight against gravity? And you've guessed it. It's going underground. This way, you'll ensure no liquid travels back up the suctions. So this gets a green check mark from me. Again, it's so obvious, but it's actually quite common. So it's imperative that we get a construction company that knows what they're doing. Now, let's go into how general contractors work. You'll need to sign a contract with them. Basically, they're going to give you a whole bunch of legal documents that you have to read through, and then they're also going to give you an estimated timeline of when the project should be completed. And the timeline portion sort of looks like this. You will notice on the right side that there's a timeline schedule, and on the left side, pretty much the same thing, but it also has descriptions such as underground plumbing and drywall installation. Keep in mind that these dates are just estimates. Sometimes projects do get delayed. For example, our East St. Paul clinic was set for a 3-month build out, but it ended up taking about 4.5 months. So what happened? Well, the contracting company hired a terrible general supervisor. He was absolutely terrible with timing and communication. So long story short, I kindly had to message the main owner and push things along. But whatever, it's done now. So expect the unexpected. This could happen to you too when you start building your dental practice. So obviously it's bad when things get delayed, but what other ramifications can it have? Well, I'm here to show you. So let's say you're set to open on April 1st. Cool. This is going to be your starting day. Your dream dental office will be built on this day. So you start training staff and scheduling the patients for that day. After all, we gotta hit the ground running, right? Everything is moving along until your contractor states that things will get delayed. Come to think of it, it kind of looks like those Italian people saying Mamma Mia holding their fingers. Anyways, he might be saying something along the lines of, oh, the material isn't here yet. Or, yeah, the guys were drinking on the job. By the way, true story. But I'll talk about that later. But anywho, it's going to be on May 15th, and that is when things turn ugly. You still have to pay your staff and retain them. What, you're going to fire your staff or not pay them before opening doors? No way, man. That, and we have to move patients to the new starting date, so there's money lost there. Some might get super angry and find another dental office. Then there's the lease portion. You may have to start paying rent. And ultimately, your dream suffers until you open your doors. The only thing that's real in this picture is April 1st, aka April Fool's Day, because, well, they fooled you into believing construction will be done by then. But some of you are wondering if this really happens. You want proof? Fine! I'll show you proof at the expense of my pride. It's going to be an example from our company's Indeed review page. It says, upper management is absolutely awful. Change rules, policies, future plans nearly daily. There's no direct line of communication from care coordination. to the actual clinicians or providers. They pretend to listen to and address your concerns, but ultimately make short-sighted decisions that often snowball into worse consequences. For example, they spent several months telling us that they were opening up a new clinic location, but we had no designated start date, leaving patients in the dark as to when they could expect it to open. When we finally started getting dates, they would demand that we fill up the schedules so that they weren't wasting money on clinicians with no patients. We struggled to do that, and then the week or sometimes even the day before, they tell us, actually, there's construction delays, everyone needs to be rescheduled. This happened repeatedly for months. Yeah, well, there's some truth to that for sure, but I wouldn't say it's that dramatic. It happened for a month tops, not months. But yeah, the struggle is real. But here's the deal. We gotta do what we gotta do and make sure the schedule does fill up on opening day. In the end, it is your practice and you have to take charge. But don't worry, not all of our people at our company are naysayers. In fact, take a look at this. Our company reviews are great. The culture that we built thus far is amazing. Do check out our social media pages such as TikTok or Instagram. It's nice. Okay, now that we talked crap about all the contractors out there, I want to set the record straight. General contractors are awesome at what they do, and they usually get the job done on time. For us, it was just that one time for one of our projects. It's whatever. They've been great for all of our other projects. So how long do dental offices take to build? Well, we average about 3 months for each of our projects. During this time, you will also be involved during the building process. How much? Well, that depends on you. There's no major requirement. Too little is no good, but too much is also no good. The contractors will pretty much follow the architect's drawings, but may have some questions that's not 100% specified in the architect drawings. Some of the things might be like, what color do you want your flooring to be? Do you want additional cabinets over there? What color do you want your cabinets to be? Oh, and this actually calls for a story time. I know a dentist who had her dream clinic all planned out. She met with the architect and explained everything about her dream practice. And then she hired a general contractor to build her dental practice. It was a great plan. And then she went in after some time has passed, and it turned out the cabinet colors were red. Not only that, but the dimensions of the cabinets were wonky. So yeah, she talked to the contractor, and the contractor blamed it on the architect, and then the architect blamed it on the contractors, and there was this big fiasco. In the end, the cost of changing would be too much, so she decided to keep her office. So these things do happen. So a pro tip would be to check in every so often and be firm when things are not what you want. Now let's talk about how you pay these contractors. Unless you have cash, you will need to go to the bank and get some loans. Once you get these loans, you'll see a super big amount of money in your bank account. So my first time, it was like super crazy eye-opener. Now that we have the money, you will pay your contractors about 1/3 or 1/4 at a time. Usually that's the case. Keep in mind that the main reason why they do this is because they have to pay their subcontractors. Pretty much, Tommy the painter won't paint your office if he's not being paid on time. And it's just not Tommy the painter, the GC, or the general contractor is worried about. He or she also has to worry about the plumber, the electrician, floor, drywall people, and everyone else. So now that I explained how to find general contractors and what to look out for, in the next video, I will break down each section of the dental practice build-out bid. Stuff like the cost of plumbing, electrical, painting, drywall, and all of the rest. So click on the next video to see.